Hey, what's up guys? Today we'll be drawing Doraemon from the movie Nobita's Treasure Island. In this short video tutorial, I'll be going over the step-by-step of how to create this Doraemon drawing from scratch to finish. If you would like to just see the speed drawing video, go ahead and click on the info card now. Okay, so also check out the video chapters in the description below to preview all the steps or to skip to the chapter that interests you the most. If you already love what you see on this completed drawing, feel free to hit like and subscribe. Now, let's take a look at the materials we need for this drawing. Briefly going over all the steps. Okay, so we have a pencil, an eraser, a fine point black marker, a medium point black marker for the profile lines, and some color pencils. So I have a pink and a dark pink, okay, for this fur on top of the hat. I have red and a brown for the red jacket. Okay, and I have a yellow for the gold. And black for the area that's darker on these gold parts. I have a gray for the body and a black for the shadow. I have a brown for the belt, and I have a blue and a dark blue for the blue part of Doraemon's body. Okay, so for a lot of videos I'll be doing speed drawing, so if you're drawing along, feel free to pause the video whenever you'd like to catch up with me. Okay, let's get started. Now before we start our drawing, let's take a look at a reference picture of Treasure Island Doraemon and find out what shapes and form we can use to create our drawing. Now I have here also a reference picture of a regular Doraemon without the costume. The reason why is this version of Doraemon, the Treasure Island Doraemon, is actually just the regular Doraemon with the costume. So when we do our form figuring, once we have like Doraemon's form, we would draw him in the form figuring stage as a regular Doraemon. And then when we add in the details, we would just kind of like dress up the form figure to become this Treasure Island Doraemon. Okay? So that's why I have two different references here. So I'll be referencing both of these. Because a lot of times when you're working on like a dressed up character, like because so much detail and so much outfit, it's really hard to see through and see what the character originally looks like. So this way I know that Doraemon originally looked like this. And then what I'm doing is drawing him in a cool pose plus a really awesome costume. Okay? So let's find out like what shapes and form is consistent here. Okay? So we see that Doraemon, the head is a big circle. You draw him across. Okay? And then the body is pretty much a rectangle. Okay? If we take our pencil and measure it, the body is like only about half the size, a little bit more than half of the head. That's the size. Okay? Two rectangles for the feet. Two rectangles for the leg and two ovals for the feet. Then we can draw two cylinders for the arm, circle for the hand, circle for the hand. Okay? On this belly, tummy, for the pocket, it's an oval plus half an oval. Alright? And another circle for the belt. Now, Doraemon's eyes are circles, face circle, nose circle, and then his big smile is a very big U shape. Okay? So Doraemon uses a lot of circles on the character design. Alright, so if we look right here on this Doraemon, you're able to see, again, big circle. I'm going to draw my cross here. Okay, his body, his leg, the other leg, stepping out. It's an oval, another oval here. And add the tummy with the bag. One cylinder for one arm, the other cylinder right here. The hand, circle his hand, okay? And after you have like the basic form, you can start adding in like other details, like the jacket, stuff like that, okay? Big hat, right? So now let's take a look at the lighting. Lighting pretty simple. If we look right here, lighting is pretty much coming from top left to down right because we see some shadow here, shadow on the bottom. You know, see all the shadow are pretty much closer to the bottom right of the image, okay? So now we have the lighting direction, okay? We analyze the form, the shapes we can use to create a character. Now let's start roughing in the basic shape and form. So this first stage, I call it stick figuring because that's what I'll be doing with the pose. Okay? So we'll be doing stick figuring and then we're going to be doing the form figuring after we have the sticks to thicken up the stick forms. Okay? So that's what we're going to do for the basic shape and form stage for this drawing. Alright, let's get started. Okay, see how now I have like the basic form figure of like the standard Doraemon with no costume, but in this Doraemon pose. Okay, so now that if I continue drawing without the costume, I would have like a Doraemon in a custom pose. Okay, but I want to actually put this really cool costume on Doraemon. But before I do that, I just need to make sure that, oh good, now this form, it's all good, it's accurate. Okay, so we're learning how to draw like the correct way to draw Doraemon. Okay, not our own version. Just learn how to do it the right way first, okay? So I look at it and say, good, all right, all the basic forms, the shapes, it looks like Doraemon. Now, let's start drawing in the shape and form for the costume. Okay, so I consider this to actually be the most important stage of the drawing because it is actually the foundation of everything else that comes after. Okay, so if you got this right, everything from this point on will be a breeze. It'll just be very fun filling in the details, connecting the lines, bring out more and more refinements and really cool trims and details on the character and really bring it to life. And then you're having fun because in the beginning you spend the time to double check the composition, to double check the anatomy, to double check the structure, the layout, everything. So now it's the fun part, okay? Now at this stage, I actually draw very, very lightly. Just to avoid committing to any lines too soon, and easier to erase if you make a mistake. Okay. Now when I start to refine this drawing in a second, okay, the more definitive lines I'm going to draw heavier. Okay, and the rough sketch will feel like it's fading away, and the refined line work will emerge from the basic shapes and forms. Okay, so you probably saw me draw a lot of circles, and a lot of circles not even complete. I'm just kind of anchoring where the keystroke should be. Okay, so that is like one technique that I constantly use to draw circles. So if I were to draw a circle, I will actually draw the four corners first to anchor it on the paper and know that this is where I want it to be. The placement, this is it. And then I would draw the other four corners and then connect the lines to form a very good circle. Okay, so this is a very good technique to draw bigger spheres, ovals, and circular shapes, and it gives you a lot of control of your shape. Alright, now if you're not happy with what you have at this stage, don't move on. Keep working on it until you're happy. Okay, now remember, we are learning from the reference, which is what Doraemon should be drawn, like the official way. So don't try to wander off and create your own version of Doraemon yet. Let's learn how to draw it right, and then in your next drawing you can go on your venture and create like your own version of Doraemon. Alright, so if you think everything's good, let's start refining the drawings and putting those details. See how the rough sketch feels like it's faded away now? We have a refined pencil drawing. Okay, so learn to draw with short, repetitive strokes. Okay? And amongst the rough outlines, look for your definitive line. And when you see it, draw heavier. Okay? That's how you bring your rough sketch to a refined drawing and see your real line work emerge from the paper. Alright, so next step is to trace your pencil drawing with the marker, also called inking. Okay, and then we'll erase the pencil drawing afterwards. Alright, so for this stage, I want you to pay attention to like where shapes overlap. So little areas, like right here, right here, right here, right here. Okay? The reason why this line of the arm is running into the body is because indicating the arm is in front of the body. And for turning points like this, you know, the line would not just end right here. It will make a little turn at the end, okay, to indicate that it's a curved form. See that right here? See that right here? Those are very important little details you should pay attention to when you're inking. Oop, forgot one line here. There you go. Alright, so another tip is to keep rotating your paper to produce smoother lines. And remember that you don't have to finish a long line with one single stroke. Okay, you can break it up into several strokes. Just make sure that it looks continuous. Okay, so let me demonstrate. Okay, for example, this foot here. That's 1 stroke, 2, 3, 4. See, it doesn't need to be one time. It can be several lines connecting to form that one long curve. Alright? Now before we begin tracing, if you do enjoy the tutorial so far, remember to hit like and subscribe. It is the biggest appreciation I can get from you guys. Alright, let's start tracing. Okay, when you erase your pencil drawing, make sure you hold down the paper with the other hand, okay? So that you don't risk wrinkle up or crease up your paper or make any damage to your paper. That'd be bad. So now the next step is coloring. Now most objects you draw will have highlights, midtone, and shadows. Now on white paper, we can overlay colors to make it look darker, but we can't really overlay colors to make it lighter. So what we're going to do is going to see if there are any like highlight areas on the drawing or potential highlight areas on the drawing. I'm going to leave those areas white. Okay, or very light to begin with, okay? And then color all the midtones in there, and then I'm going to overlay the shadow later on, because you can lay the shadow on top of the midtone to make it look darker. Now, the reason why a lot of times for highlights I do leave it white is because the white highlights makes it more noticeable and your form will look more dimensional. Okay, but if I do color in the highlight areas, it'll be like last and it's usually like a light layer of the midtone. Okay, so if we take a look at our image right here, now this is probably like so we find like a little highlight right here in the nose, and that's pretty much it. The reason why is like when they do like Japanese animations, a lot of times they're on a budget, so they constantly have to do like this technique called cell shading, where it's flat colors. It's like one flat color area for midtone, one flat color area for shadow. And pretty much that's what they do. And you don't usually like color in the highlight, only here and there. So we're going to design the lighting a little bit, because imagine if we're drawing a sphere right now and the lighting's coming from this direction, you'll probably have a highlight area here. And then this area right here will be like your midtone. And then this area right here will be like your shadow. Now there's one more thing that I want to put in here, is reflective light. So on the very, very, very corner edge right here, it's actually not going to be all dark, because most likely your sphere is on the surface, okay? And this rim light right here is reflected off of the surface. The light will hit the surface, bounce back up. That's why the very edge of the shadow will be lighter, okay? So I'm going to color my midtone with this concept in mind, this mentality in mind. I'm going to leave the highlight area where I think most of the area will be like an upper right, upper left, okay? And then after that, we'll talk about shadows, okay? Okay, so I have all the midtone colors in there. Now, you'll see that I have the idea of lighting coming from top left down to the bottom right. That's why intentionally I'll leave like the highlighted area white, okay, and not color it. Okay, so with the highlight to bring out the form, like whatever that's lighter will come forth. Okay, so going back to my explanation of the sphere. See, I have the midtone and I have the highlight left white. So now I'm going to work on the shadow. Okay, and then the reflection. So meaning like the shadow will mainly be dark, but when it gets closer to the border or the edge of the form, it will lighten up a little bit. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to put in all the shadow. Okay, now I know this drawing can look a little bit more dimensional. It looks kind of flat with just the midtone and the highlight, but watch this. See how after we put in the shadow, the whole drawing becomes more dimensional? That's because with your highlight, midtone, and shadow combined, everything will read as 3D forms instead of 2D flat shapes. Okay, so I know it looks pretty awesome already, but we're going to make it look even better by making the profile lines thicker. Now, the profile lines they are the outermost borderlines of each major shapes. For example, the arm, the foot, the body, the head. Okay, now detail lines like the facial features, little patterns on the clothing, those detail lines are not considered profile lines. Now when we make the profile lines thicker, the whole form will pop out very well. Especially when sometimes we have a lot of details that's clustered. It looks very beautiful, but it takes some time to really figure out which form is in the front and which form is in the back. But with the profile lines thickened, you can immediately see, oh wow, the arm is in front of the body, or the body is in front of the leg, and so on. Okay, so let me show you how this works. And there we have Treasure Island Doraemon from the movie Nobita's Treasure Island. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this drawing tutorial. Let me know in the comments below what we should draw next. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Now remember, drawing is like playing the piano. You can have the best instructor and the best music sheet in front of you. You might even know the music very well. But it's only through practice that you'll get better and become what you want to be. The point of my videos is to provide side-by-side training for you on a daily basis. Like riding a bicycle, I might have to hold your bike for you in the beginning. But just keep drawing and keep practicing, and before you know it, you will be flying. I'll see you next time.